Heartless is the true hero, promiscuous is the true man, childish is the true man, and frivolous is the true prodigal. This is a story of a man deceiving others in adversity. There is a poem that goes, I have never achieved good results in my life, but only love to kill and set fire. Accidentally living in this world, one can only become a demon on the spot. Group ID, 6460540996. Welcome to Shicun Temple. Keywords of the novel. Misfortune mixed in the underworld as a demon lord without pop-ups, misfortune mixed in the underworld as a demon lord. Download the complete text, Misfortune mixed in the underworld as a demon lord. Latest chapter reading. 1, Chapter 1. The Unlucky Traveler. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The unlucky traveler. In a corner of adversity, a prodigal son walked gracefully, with a playful demeanor between his eyebrows and eyes. Master, wait for me. Behind, the black smoke, like a black ball-like elf, followed closely behind. Look at you being so slow, you look like a slow doctor. Seeing the prodigal son stop, Black Ball quickly said, Today's business has 10 deals. The first deal is all cancellations. Why? Black Ball asked inexplicably. When I was young, I didn't understand, but now I understand. With a casual smile, he looked up at the sky and slowly said, What is more important in this world than heroes saving beauty? Above the 9 heavens, the evil beasts roamed through the air. There was a figure salivating in her mouth, and from her appearance, it seemed like a woman. I saw the wandering prodigal son, his eyes fluttering and his aura rising. He smiled at the arm of the Hautian Sanglong, delivering an indescribable blow. Crack the ground. Open the sky. The dragon-shaped energy surged into the sky, and the evil beasts were unable to escape, causing them to fly and be extinguished in smoke. Jump up and embrace the woman who has fallen, slowly descending. A woman. She looks very bad-tempered. Sir, you still shouldn't bring trouble on your own. Looking at the woman in the arms of the wandering wanderer, who exudes mystery in her sexiness but also exudes extreme danger, she commented. So, this is fate. With a faint smile, I don't know if it's okay to drift away. Have you ever heard of sweeping the floor and corners, washing the floor and ears? I save people, but how could I only save half? What about now? Help her heal first. What Pia Piaozi didn't say was that she was also her own niece in any way she tried. If she didn't save her, how could she justify going through a difficult situation? From an otaku, just sleeping and waking up, he realized he had traveled through time. However, it's possible that the situation is not right. I just figured out my identity and haven't had a chance to react yet. I just felt a chill in my neck and my head was cut off with a sword. And according to the memory that was not fully understood yet, the person who killed himself was named Zhang Zifan. The feeling of death is cold, and the wandering wanderer no longer wants to try. Once consciousness is regained, it has become what it is today. After playing in the world before his eyes for a few days, he finally realized that his identity had become that of a sea urchin. The only difference is that my luck doesn't seem to be very good. Despite having 2 wives for no reason. They are all legitimate wives, one is a cold-blooded demon who wants to kill himself and has an affair with others. And the other one is the renowned heavenly spear in the martial arts world. It feels good, but neither of these people seems to like the owner of their current body. Together with the previous life, they were hated by those around them. The only difference is that the person who shaved his head is called his adoptive father. And the wife of the demon, on the other hand, brought herself a green hat. In a few days, I learned about the trends in the martial arts world. Not long ago, the 6 disasters of the blood case had just passed, and 100 generations of scholars wrote a book for the suffering of the common people. Sacrificing oneself once again, using the ancient Weisheng lotus to self-proclaim and save the world. The Xianhuang Sanqing of heaven, earth, and human beings have all died, it seems that there is no good news in the martial arts world, and the world is full of suffering. Not long ago, the 8-chi evil god dragon head was sealed a long time ago and began to be unsealed one after another. A new crisis will also come. And for the wandering wanderer, these have nothing to do with it. What he cares about is the hidden danger of the identity of this body itself. Xianhuang Sanqing's plan is that his wife wants to kill him and conspires with her lover to seize the family property. My own son wants to kill him for his daughter's death as revenge. The heavenly spear wife is going to kill herself and exchange her body for the reincarnated life trainee she used to be. How could there be a tragic word? Perhaps even the heavens couldn't bear to watch, as the wandering prodigal son completely merged his body. Only then did I realize that I, like the predecessors of those travelers, also have my own golden fingers. What is the name of the wine pot hanging around my waist today? The wandering wanderer is unaware, but he is capable of refining all things and transforming them into the most fundamental energy. By doing so, coupled with the tragic memories of the previous life that were shaved off just after crossing through. Finally, with the accumulation of 2 lifetimes, I have turned this whole body into a foundation for my own use. In the inn, after seeing off the doctor, the wandering wanderer looked at the woman on the bed who was still unconscious, playing with the brocade bag found on her body, groping for the embroidered words on it, and fell into contemplation. Sir, what are you thinking? I'm thinking about how to save her. Didn't the doctor just say that she's hopeless? Just because the doctor didn't save her doesn't mean no one can save her. Don't you think there's a clue to save her? Throwing the brocade bag in his hand towards the black ball's smoke surged in fear and quickly dodged. Master, you've changed. You're no longer so handsome. Ha! Is that right? He smiled and said, then be more natural and go to the town to see what's interesting. After speaking, the wandering wanderer pushed open the door and walked outward. I have never achieved good results in my life, I only love to kill and set fire. If a prodigal's son turns around, I can only become a Buddha on the spot. As a martial arts enthusiast, Piapiaozi has been doing business since he came to adversity. As long as the other party pays a recognized reward, they will help solve various problems. And the wandering wanderer also made a grand wish for himself. In this life, it is our mission to save countless women in dire straits and dedicate our entire lives. And the first goal is to be a good wife who dyed her originally dark and shiny hair. Above the market, crowds gathered together. Just because not long ago, in recent days, the rumored savior of chaos appeared in this small town. People with difficulties or doubts rushed around to announce and blocked the wandering wanderer in the market. I didn't expect it to be so easy to become famous in adversity. Piapiaozi enjoys people's flattery with pain and joy. But after solving the trouble for a few people, Piapiaozi regretted it. People always place hope in the hands of the strong. I don't see more and more people gathering here, although I can leave with my strength. However, nothing that interests me has yet to happen today. Moreover, in his keen sense of vigilance, a familiar aura was approaching here. Immediately, he rested in a tea house. Piao, can you help me see how to make a duck head that tastes even better than royal power? Piao, you can't tell me, how can I get rid of my mother tiger at home? Just as people gathered around the wandering wanderer, expressing their needs and hoping that he could answer questions and clarify doubts. A group of graceful figures, holding a stone, quietly approached the wandering wanderer. I only have this stone, can I ask for your help? Looking at the man in front of him who gave him a familiar feeling, the familiar aura in his bloodline, and the pair of eyes that seemed to be able to see through the river of time, made Piapiaozi's eyes shine. With a knowing smile, he said, "Little brother, what do you want me to do for you?" As soon as this statement was made, the scene immediately exploded, and the crowd immediately began to discuss it. I don't understand why the wandering wanderer is willing to help this young man for a stone. I need you to help me find someone. Oh. Maybe I know who you're looking for. Room 2 of the Jade Inn, 10 miles southeast of here. How do you know who I'm looking for? How do I know confidentiality? As for knowing where Sword Langya is, it's because I opened a room. It seems a bit inappropriate to say this, after all, the young man in front of us, if we want to talk about relationships, can still be considered as our own nominal biological son. Jian Langya wanted to call himself uncle, fearing that he might misunderstand. He quickly continued, I mean, when I see injustice on the road, I'll lend a helping hand and take her to the inn for treatment. At this moment, the small black ball suspended in the air added, by the way, I also invited a doctor, but it's useless. I see. After examining the wandering wanderer for a long time, I always felt that the person in front of me gave me a familiar and friendly feeling. But after thinking about it for a long time, I couldn't recall knowing him. The wandering wanderer continued, I know you are a cocoon in the underworld. Go save someone. Sword Langya is seriously injured and will send her to the Cloud Sea Immortal sect. Do you know how to go? As soon as he said this, his infinite gaze trembled. You know my identity, who exactly is your excellency? Pia Piaozi slowly stood up and smiled casually, who is it, you will know in the future. However, I remind you to stay away from Jiuying, that old pervert, which is not good for you. If you have any difficulties in the future, you can come to me. Accompanied by words, the figure slowly faded and then slowly disappeared. Who the hell are you? End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Infinite Cocoons. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Infinite Cocoons. With the guidance of the wandering prodigal son, Infinite followed his words and soon found the inn mentioned. Objectively, the girl you mentioned has just been taken away by another girl. How could that be? Infinite for a moment, thinking of the wandering wanderer, he asked, what are the characteristics of the person who takes the Sword Langya? It's a girl who looks like she's dressed in a Eastern style, but her accent is no different from yours and me. Confirm that it was not a wandering wanderer playing with oneself. The words of the shop assistant instantly aroused suspicion in Infinite's heart. After inquiring about the direction in which Sword Langya was taken away, he immediately searched for it. On the wilderness, Yin Yang Long Yi Ji pushed the unconscious Sword Langya towards the secluded realm at lightning speed. Halfway through, a sudden gust of cold wind passed by, and in a moment, a demonic, cold, aloof, elegant figure appeared before my eyes. Where are you taking Sword Langya? With a question, accompanied by a cold and murderous aura, the world fell silent in an instant. Is there any room for you to inquire about the infinite cocoon on the ground? Hachiya Ji sneered coldly and said. In a moment of doubt, goodbye to the amazing move of the Misty Knight Ji Yun. Is this the move of the person I hate the most in this life? Reappeared before my eyes, with an infinite cold eyebrow raised and a fierce aura, expressing surprise and murderous intent. You should be familiar with it more than anyone else. The Demon Lord's 3 Wonders. Mad Demon Purgatory. You. Infinite was both shocked and angry. While watching the Mo Jun Ju Shi of the Misty Knight Ji Yun, he didn't dare to be careless, and Mo Yuan Man suddenly launched a powerful move. Doomsday destroys the 8 wildernesses. The Eye of Doom appears, the first move to destroy the 8 wildernesses, and the 3 powerful and astonishing skills. There is nothing but superficial. Noticing something wrong, in an instant, I felt the ambiguous moves of the Misty Knight Lady and retreated with an infinite touch. Isn't this the true 3 wonders of the Demon Lord? Ha! Aren't you curious how I knew this trick? Asked the hazy Night Lady with a light smile. Unexpectedly, Infinity calmly replied, it has nothing to do with me. Leave the Sword Langya behind. Unfortunately, this female Demon Lord has taken it. She has pure beast pupils, and if she doesn't restore her purity with the demonic sword, it will bury her talent. As the words fell, a palm burst out in an instant, and the Misty Night Lady immediately wanted to withdraw with the sword Langya. At this moment, suddenly there were thunderous sounds around, and the heavenly heart of the Taoist sect was filled with 5 thunderous sounds. The aura of the Confucian sect's Holy Spirit swept across the area, blocking the figure of the Misty Night Lady. Being ruthless is the true hero, being promiscuous is the true man, being childish is the true man, and being frivolous is the true prodigal. Accompanied by the poem, a graceful figure arrived in an instant and stopped in front of the Misty Night Lady. "Put the person down, you can leave now." Misty Night Ji looked at the person in front of her, feeling an inexplicable sense of familiarity in her heart, sensing her cultivation. It turned out that a mud ox had entered the sea, unable to see it clearly. At this moment, watching the appearance of the wandering wanderer, Infinite silently blocked the retreat of the Misty Night Lady, and the two of them tacitly surrounded her. "Humph. The person the demon wants. You can't keep it." The Misty Night Lady knew that the sword Langya could no longer be taken away, so she left a message and disappeared. After she left, the wandering wanderer looked at the Infinite in thought and said calmly, "All right, you have also found the person. Take her to the Cloud Sea Immortal sect for treatment." "Who is your excellency? Can't you tell? I'm a good person wandering in the martial arts world. Let's go." Words fall, drifting away like a wanderer, without taking away a cloud. Looking at the back of the wandering wanderer, Infinite always felt like he had seen him somewhere, but couldn't remember it. After a long time, we had to give up. Pick up the unconscious sword Langya and immediately head towards the Cloud Sea Immortal Gate. Sending away infinity, the wandering wanderer walked slowly, and the appearance of the hazy Night Lady made him extremely depressed. It seems that his predecessor had a bad reputation, which made him very distressed. The person who was constantly calculating in the dark, Pia Piaozi, was about to carefully plan when suddenly a terrifying evil aura swept over from afar. Looking up at the sky. Looking through the clouds and breaking through the sky, I was amazed to see hundreds of miles away, a huge cloud whale howling mournfully in the sky. A constant ancient evil force penetrates hundreds of miles, and even the place where the wandering wanderer is located can feel the terror of this force. Pangu Cloud Whale Uprising, it seems that the Cloud Sea Immortal sect is facing difficulties. With heart racing and hurried footsteps, he hurried towards the direction of the Cloud Whale. Outside the Cloud Sea Immortal Gate, one of the 8 heavenly devils, the Dark Truth triggers the ancient 8 Qi evil gods to destroy the channels of the heavens. 6 Prohibitions. Evil Burial Sun and Moon. The rare move in the world caused the sun to fall and the moon to sink, causing the entire Cloud Sea space to be completely shaken. Seeing the situation change, at this moment, the leader of the Cloud Sea Immortal sect, Yun Kuei, robs the Red Beauty and stimulates the power of the Wa Emperor Immortal to resist the power of prohibition. Immortal power interweaves into a web, enveloping and descending. In an instant, the duel moves handover, unleashing unprecedented power. At the same time, the Crystal Palace inside the Sparrow Cloud platform of the Cloud Sea Immortal sect unexpectedly resonated with the 8 Qi evil forces. On the periphery, the two people who were fighting felt the same sense of turmoil within the Cloud Sea Immortal sect. Yun Kuei was startled and suddenly revealed a flaw. Upon seeing the situation, the Dark Truth immediately urged the evil force again. The power of prohibition instantly doubled, breaking through the limitations of Emperor Wa's immortal power and heading straight towards the Pangu Cloud Whale. Cloud Whale! Jie Hongyan exclaimed in surprise, only to hear the mournful cries of Pangu Cloud Whale, which immediately became restless and restless. Only hearing the cold smile of the Dark Truth, he said, "This unsolvable evil seal will be the beginning of the destruction of the immortal sect." Jie Hongyan was furious and driven by immortal power. The mountains and rivers were turbulent, and she wanted to kill the demons in one fell swoop. At this moment, a stream of light came from afar. The 5 thunders' heavenly heart moves in heaven and earth. I saw the wandering prodigal son operating the 5 thunder heavenly heart technique, and the demon god thunder plummeted towards the dark realm from the gate to the extreme. At the same time, the infinite hand held the eye of martyrdom and descended from the sky. Cataclysm opens up the world and shakes. The bipolar god shines in the sky. The eye of infinite doomsday, combined with the eye of martyrdom in hand, opens up the power of the eternal world and world, unleashing the power of the catastrophic world and attacking the dark truth. Faced with the joint attack of two people, although Dark D's strength was extraordinary, his two fists were difficult to match his four hands, and he was in a precarious situation. Infinite, there are also people from the Tao sect. Dark D had doubts in his heart, and his robbing beauty was also eyeing him. He knew that it was impossible to destroy the immortal sect today. We'll see each other again. With a cold snort, it immediately triggered the spatial magic and the figure dissipated. The dark truth left, and the Panga cloud whale was restless and restless. Jie Hongyan immediately mobilized the supreme immortal power to soothe Yunjing. Thank you very much for your help. Looking at the wandering wanderer who met again, there was a strange feeling in his heart, as if he had a special sense of himself. I'm not helping anyone. It's just that person looked annoying just now. The Cloud Sea Immortal Sect has arrived, take the sword Langya and enter for treatment. Remember, if it's okay, go see the Blade Demon and don't let him hang up again. After speaking, the wandering wanderer was about to leave, and Infinity immediately stopped him. Your Excellency's understanding of me, Feng Imo father and daughter, and whether you are willing to help us resist the 8 ministries. Pia Pialuozi glanced at him and nodded with a smile, praising, young man, you haven't joined the righteous path yet, and you've started learning to pull people into the water. Not bad, not bad. Young man. I was somewhat surprised by the way the wandering wanderer called him. Just as he was about to persuade him again, he continued, you and Jian Langya are waiting here, waiting for me to buy you an orange. After finishing speaking, I felt uncomfortable and said awkwardly, I mean, when I get you an 8-pointed dragon head, come back. Let's go. A graceful and unrestrained figure, stepping slowly on the void. I have never achieved good deeds in my life, I only love to kill and set fire. If a prodigal's son turns around, I can only become a Buddha on the spot. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Taking the Dragon Head. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Taking Dragon Head. On the wilderness, a desolate spatial crack quietly appeared, and the secret of escaping from the Cloud Sea Immortal Gate slowly emerged. The evil seal has been cast, and the evil kings of the heavens will inevitably be pulled by the evil seal and accelerate their rebirth. Suddenly, Andi's heart trembled with a chill, and a chilling killing intent permeated her surroundings from nowhere. Upon careful investigation, I was surprised to find that at some point, a magnificent iceberg appeared in front of me. The dark truth is focused on guard, moving forward with the intention of exploring. In the midst of the iceberg, a figure appeared, with a face like ice jade and skin like ice and snow, sleeping peacefully in an ice sculpture. Is that? In a moment of doubt, the person who sleeps in ice emits dark curse power all over their body. The curse power condenses and transforms into a black energy demon fox, heading straight towards the dark truth. In the sudden battle, Andi was surprised in his heart, and when he handed it over, he felt the evil power on his body being taken away. In astonishment, with a casual move, he broke free from the entanglement of the demon fox and retreated dozens of zhang in an instant. Just as he was about to take action, he suddenly saw a burst of pure and holy energy from the immortal sect within the iceberg, and the demon fox seemed to have a sense and instantly dissipated without a trace. Surprisingly, this immortal power was unleashed by that frozen person. For some unknown reason, Andi immediately prepared to take action to capture the frozen person. At this moment, a familiar aura approached rapidly, accompanied by the 5 thunderbolts of the ultimate demon-slaying technique from the Tao Gate. First, he used taboo techniques, and then he was injured by the infinite united Pia Piaozi. Faced with this demonic thunder and lightning, Dark D had no time to react and was immediately injured. We really have a chance. Since I've met you again, don't leave. I didn't expect it to be so destined. Just now, when the Cloud Sea Immortal sect came out, they met the Dark D again. Without hesitation, Pia Pia Wangzi's powerful move was instantly mastered. Mad Hell. Chapter of Crime and Punishment, the Three Wonders of the Demon Lord, the ultimate masterpiece, recreate the world. The thunderous sound, like the heavenly punishment of a convicted person, transformed into a destructive power in the hands of the wandering wanderer and attacked the dark truth. Not good. Retreat. Noticing the true strength of the Pia Pia Ozi, the dark truth dared not stay for a long time and immediately did not resist. In an instant, he was hit by the Pia Pizi's palm and flew away, following the trend and retreating. You have vision. The prodigal's son rose and turned to look at the magnificent iceberg. Among them, the sealed man, Pia Pia Ozi, instantly understood his identity. And he was the son of the Cloud Sea Immortal Sex Jaihanjian whom he had just seen, born a long time ago when Jaihanjian was still a feather-clad fox, after being cursed by an evil god in his body. The body possessed evil power, and the Nine Heavens Xuanzuan later transferred its evil power to another evil son of Jaihanjian, Wei Meng. The unknown will only manifest when it falls into a dead sleep. Once the unknown falls into a deep sleep, it feels like death, and after waking up, all memories are lost, constantly circulating. Is it his father who truly makes the wandering wanderer care? You're lucky, we're all in that person's calculations. Thinking of this, Pia Pia Wangzi utilized the power of the holy Qinkuan Gong to catalyze the transformation of Confucian holy energy into waves and heat waves, rescuing him from the iceberg in one fell swoop. Looking at the sleeping person in front of him, Pia Pia Ozi returned to the Cloud Sea Immortal Sect and handed him over to the twin saints of the Immortal Sect Protector before leaving again. Qishan Blind Sword Forest Indiana. The past, the Nine Heavens Xuanzuan sealed the land of the 8 Qi evil divine dragon head, but today it reproduces the enchanting shadow. The sound of battle in the Blind Sword Forest was boiling, and a seductive woman was fighting against the blind old man. Although the woman's attack is fierce, she does not take anyone's life everywhere, her body movements are unpredictable, and she seems to have ulterior motives. In the dark, the wandering wanderer with the smoking ghost little black ball has been watching for a long time. Sir, are you sure you want to deal with that woman? She looks very powerful. Wrong. Pia Pia Ozi chuckled and shook his head, saying, how could I not understand how to cherish fragrance and jade? I want such a charming woman. Master, you have gone bad. The little smoker couldn't help but shiver and sneer, Master, don't you not smell it? It's the most poisonous to women's hearts. I seem to have seen you, the scene of the small forest rushing hurriedly. The little smoker instinctively shook his ground, but was slapped out by the wandering wanderer. Such unlucky words, cannot be said, cannot be said. On the battlefield, although the blind old man fought back hard, his fist was afraid of being young, let alone the fact that the woman's strength was already much higher than the old man's. After a long battle, the image of defeat had already appeared. At that moment, a black stream of light suddenly burst through the air and hit the woman's face. Who is that person? Some unexpected women immediately took a long knife out of their body and took the opportunity to slay. I saw the black flowing light being cut by the long sword and immediately turned back. I hate you, sir. Little Black Ball felt pain and howled in sorrow, accusing the wandering wanderer of his crimes. However, the wandering wanderer did not feel much about it. He took the small black ball and walked slowly out, his gaze fixed on the woman for a long time. The seductive Japanese woman in front of her, with a graceful demeanor and a cold and ruthless killer between her eyebrows and eyes, left the wandering wanderer in awe. You're a great woman, I like you. The appearance of the wandering wanderer surprised by Chuan Linghua, who had originally come to inquire about the 8 Qi evil god dragon head. Her unfathomable skills, casual and carefree posture, and frivolous tone made her frown involuntarily. You have a lot of courage, but I don't know if you can handle it anymore. As the words fell, the long sword from his waist came out of his body, and his figure turned into a lingering shadow. He quickly rushed towards the wandering wanderer. A woman from Japan should maintain her rightful appearance. She's really a little chilly when she pulls out her sword and chops people like this. Pia Piaozi was chatting and laughing confidently, and with every move and gesture, he broke through the attack of Baichuan Linghua one by one. The graceful and free posture made Shirakawa Ayaka increasingly cautious, and her heart felt a sense of retreat. With a false move, Baichuan Linghua wanted to take advantage of the opportunity and retreat. But I saw that the wandering wanderer did not retreat but instead advanced. Flip your wrist and grab onto Baichuan Linghua's wrist, and then 5 thunderbolts move. In an instant, the power of the Tao Gates breaking evil lightning directly penetrates Baichuan Linghua's body. The demon was already afraid of the power of thunder and lightning, and in an instant, Baichuan Linghua felt the 8 evil forces in her body disintegrate like a flowing river. Who the hell are you? Difficult to speak, for countless years, Shirakawa Linghua once again felt the feeling of death. There is no fear in her heart, only the joy of liberation and the lingering concern that entangles her. Of course I am your master. With an indifferent remark, I saw that the evil power of Baichuan Linghua was about to be exhausted, and my heart knew that his life was entrusted to a flower on the other bank by the 8 Qi evil gods. Even if she is killed today, as long as the other side flower is still alive, resurrection is only a matter of time. Release your wrist and Pia Piaozi slowly takes off the wine jug from your waist. Opening the wine jug, with a thought, an indescribable suction enveloped Baichuan Linghua's body in an instant. Putting it into the wine jug, the wandering wanderer immediately looked towards the blind swordsman walking towards him. Thank you very much for your help. Bowing his hand and thanking him, although he looked blind in his eyes, his heart could see clearly. The technique used by Pia Piaozi just now was the orthodox 5 thunder secret technique of the Taoist sect. Therefore, it is concluded that he must be a righteous person. But the human heart is often the most unpredictable thing in this world. I saw the wandering wanderer ignoring the old man and heading towards the blind sword forest on his own. Please stop. Seeing this, the old man immediately wanted to stop. You are the people arranged by the 9 heavens Xuanzuan to guard the dragon head here. I understand, but I don't need it now. The dragon head lord has taken it away. As the words fell, I saw the wandering prodigal's son sinking into a pile, soaring into the sky. His body and skills were exhausted, and the wine pot in his hand slowly changed. Under the divine light, the entire blind sword forest of Qishan was shrouded, and the blind-eyed old man was surrounded by the earth shaking and mountains shaking. An indescribable terrifying force shook the entire blind sword forest of Qishan and slowly rose. The 9 conscious blind sword, which originally guarded the dragon head, wanted to stop it, but under the terrifying suction, it was unable to move. I saw the wandering wanderer waving his sleeve, and the transformation of the Confucian Holy Spirit into a giant hand, grabbing all the people in the blind sword forest and vigorously throwing it out of the Qishan boundary. Your task has been completed, Dragonhead Lord has taken it away. In the eyes of Jojua Blind Sword Heart, the wandering wanderer seemed to transform into a deity, taking the entire blind sword forest and the 8 Qi dragon head together into a wine jug and leaving gracefully. What kind of person is he? I'm not sure, but it's rare in the world for him to be able to do so. He still needs to inform the Cloud Sea Immortal sect about the fact that the dragon head was killed by him. Let's go. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Be My Slave. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Be My Slave. Just after being taken up by the wandering wanderer in the blind sword forest of Qishan, angry roars came from a mysterious space outside the East China Sea of Shenzhou, on the island of Shirlu. Ah! Who dares to steal my dragon head? Amidst anger and endless screams of pain, the entire space was turbulent. In the center of the space, a figure dressed in plain clothes, with a beautiful face that surpasses that of a woman, sat cross-legged and slowly opened their eyes. You made a mistake. As soon as these words were spoken, the originally angry roar in the entire space suddenly fell silent. Immediately, a huge evil phantom with 8 heads and 3 tails and wings on its back emerged. How could God make a mistake? Your dragon head has been destroyed by someone is an affirmation, as well as a question and temptation. Mo Zhaonu, you're wrong. The head of the gods is immortal, not something that only ordinary people can eliminate. It's just being hidden by secret methods. When the god finds it, he must let his soul return to the underworld. However, this self-deceptive explanation was not convincing to Mo Zhaonu. Slowly close your eyes and no longer pay attention to the demonic phantom. Shortly thereafter, several secret orders were issued from the island of the dead, heading straight into the divine realm. Inside the Cloud Sea Immortal sect, seeing the infinite nature of Yunhuizi, he explained the moment of Sword Langia in detail. Are you saying that the whereabouts of the primitive demon lord are unknown, but I don't think it was arranged by the demon lord to take away the person from Sword Langia. As the father of infinity, the primitive demon lord was once a revered existence for him, but the virgin 9 infants, in order to resurrect the demon lord, even offered infinite sister as a sacrifice. This left him with no attachment to the underworld, only filled with hatred. I didn't expect Yunhuizi to defend the demon lord, and I couldn't help but feel puzzled. Why can't you be the demon lord? Do you think Tianji is not prepared to take action against the demon lord's resurrection? After thinking for a moment, Yunhuizi realized that infinity was no longer a cocoon in the former secluded realm, and her heart had also changed under the influence of the underworld. Immediately, without concealing anything, he explained, when the trainee returned to the underworld that day, Tianji had made an agreement with the demon lord not to invade the realm of suffering. To prevent the demon lord from breaking the contract, we kept a backup. If the demon lord rises up with a sense of aggression, the hind hand left behind by that trace will be activated. If what I expected is right, the demon lord should be completely blank now. This Infinite knew in his heart that Yunhuizi's words may be true. After all, as the highest leader of the underworld, the demon lord cannot disappear without reason. For some reason, the figure of the wandering wanderer slowly appeared in Infinite's mind. Just as all parties were about to stir up, in a hidden place of hardship, an ordinary wine jug was casually discarded under a big tree. Inside the wine pot, the wandering wanderer lazily lay on a bamboo lounge chair. Beside her, Baichuan Linghua couldn't move and could only look fiercely at the man who was leisurely there, wishing to eat his flesh and tear open his bones. You don't have to look at me like this. Even the 8 Qi evil gods can't be found here. So, have you decided to be my slave? You're dreaming. Pia Piaozi greatly appreciated the struggle against Shirakawa Linghua. If it weren't for this, even if her figure was charming and alluring, it wouldn't be worth her much effort. Dreams are always necessary. With a slight smile, the wandering prodigal said slowly, the way of life and death is cruel and ruthless. If Qi Luo knew you were my slave, guess what he would think? You. The words of the wandering prodigal made Baichuan Linghua's heart involuntarily move. The long-term emotional bonds have already exhausted her, from her body to a demon-like body that is neither human nor ghost-like today. What supported her survival was her expectations for Qi Luo, her persistence and commitment to the path of life and death. You won. I can be your slave, but you must also kill me. No, no, no. Pia Piaozi lifted the shackles of Baichuan Linghua and shook his head, saying, a beauty like you, how could I be willing to let you be so easily liberated? With a frown on her forehead, Baichuan Linghua's figure flashed and she grabbed the neck of the wandering prodigal. She said coldly, since you don't agree, I'll have to kill you. The wandering wanderer remained motionless and said nonchalantly, you can't kill me. The 8 Qi evil god has gathered your soul and nourished it with evil power, and you are indeed immortal. But if you want to kill you, it's not difficult, but it's not worth it. Don't you want to retaliate against the 8 evil god for causing you to feel like death? Don't you want to kill the 8 evil god? Although Shirakawa Linghua didn't want to admit it, her intuition told her that the person in front of her was not talking big. It seemed that he really had a way to solve the 8 evil gods. Slowly releasing her arm, Shirakawa Linghua said coldly, "Are you going to kill the evil god?" Ha! Since he claims to be a god, he is also named an evil god. He is just a ridiculous frog at the bottom of a well. It's not difficult for me to kill him. Tell me how to kill the evil god. If you take it seriously, I'll be your slave. So what? Okay, since that's the case. Then it's best for you to follow my instructions next. Of course, you can refuse to listen. After finishing speaking, Pia Piaozi touched his chin and playfully looked at Baichuan Linghua with a faint smile, saying, "Be good, call me master and listen." Anger, unwillingness, and other emotions instantly filled Shirakawa Linghua's heart, but after a long time, she only heard, "Lord. People. Ha ha ha. Not bad, not bad. I'm very happy. As a reward." Shortly thereafter, amidst the angry gaze of Shirakawa Linghua, the entire space was filled with the wild laughter of the wandering wanderer. The next day, inside the distressed Shirhu mountain, Baichuan Linghua, who was covered in scars, had just crossed the mountain barrier when he saw Qi Luo coming towards him, with an anxious expression on his eyebrows and eyes. Approaching him, he asked with concern, "How could you be like this? What happened?" Avoiding the arm that Qi Luo was reaching out to help, Baichuan Linghua appeared indifferent as if she had seen a stranger. "It has nothing to do with you." Qi Luo hesitated and withdrew his arm, sighing, "You are still so helpless. The dragon's head is no longer in the blind sword forest of Qishan, it has been taken away by someone. The mission has failed." Qi Luo was somewhat surprised and quickly asked, "Who took it from?" "I'm not sure, the other party only left one sentence. If you want the dragon head, go to the underworld to find him." Qi Luo hesitated at the moment. As for the strength of the underworld, the members of the Heavenly Evil 8 departments had already investigated it. "I just can't figure out why the other party left such a message." Just as he was about to ask again, he saw Baichuan Linghua give him an indifferent glance, and then turned around and left directly. Qi Luo looked at the figure about to leave and quickly walked forward. In an unquestionable tone, he said, "I'll take you to heal." "No need to." Before he could finish speaking, Qi Luo grabbed Baichuan Linghua's arm and couldn't let her refuse anymore. End of this chapter. 5, Chapter 5. Above Qishan Mountain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Above Qishan. Shortly after the disappearance of the dragon head in Qishan, all parties in the land of China were shocked. The members of the 8 heavenly demons have turned their attention to the direction of the underworld, and the righteous forces led by the Defeng Ancient Tao and the Yunhai Immortal Sect have also begun to pay attention to the movements of the underworld. This made the Holy Mother and 9 infants, who held the power of the underworld, headache profusely. In the depths of the underworld, within the holy realm of pregnancy, when 9 infants were wondering who they were and calculating the underworld. Suddenly, evil spirits passed through, enveloping the 4 fields in an instant, and Jiao Ying was on guard. The map of the Zhe Kingdom's rivers and mountains entering the war, the living people, He Ji Lu Qiao Su, with the emperor's words, he is appointed as a marquis, and his achievements will wither away. Accompanied by a mysterious poem, I saw a person holding a white bone fan, as white as jade, resembling a ghost from hell with a pale face, emitting a cold and eerie aura, stepping on the river of blood. Is it you? Seeing someone approaching, Jiao Ying's eyebrows trembled with a chill, and the demon element instantly lifted. Mad Hell. Chapter of Crime and Punishment. The Demon Lord's 3 unique abilities were revealed in an instant. Unexpectedly, the newcomer did not dodge and forcefully accepted the 9 infants' move, causing a blush to overflow from the corner of his mouth. Seeing someone approaching, Jiuying didn't dodge or dodge. She immediately thought to herself and said calmly, "This is the punishment you deserve. Good fight. Fu Zishi deserves this palm, he deserves to die 1,000 times. As you said." Jiuying's sharp palm reappeared, and Fu Zishi was immediately knocked away several zhang, pouring dust. A hint of surprise flashed in Jiuying's eyes, and after careful consideration, he stopped making a move and said calmly, "You have a clear conscience if you don't respond." Fu Zishi slowly stood up and urged his evil powers to heal his injuries, while saying, "Everything back then was my fault. How shameless is it to fight back? You." Upon hearing the person in front of him mention the old story, Jiuying was furious and was about to take action again. I only heard Fu Zishi speak with regret and say, "Give me another palm and send me across the endless world. I will meet you endlessly. As you wish." I saw 9 infants gathering all their strength, their 9 great limiting magic skills urging them, and their figure instantly moved a palm and poured it directly into Fu Zishi's chest. Heiran Mo Yuan poured directly into his body, and Fu Zishi immediately realized that this move was actually helping him heal his injuries. Why not take down the assassin? Ask knowingly. Fu Zishi smiled slightly, reached out and held Jiuying's jade hand, gently kissing. The Great Virgin Mary, Fu Zishi is reasonable. Pulling out his hand, Jiuying smiled and said, "Save your hypocrisy." Both of them have their own calculations and are aware of each other's nature. They are both profit-oriented individuals, but their surface cooperation still silently maintains surface peace. You have really wronged the Virgin Mary. Facing the unattractive demon king all year round is really disgusting, and no wonder you live like a year. But for the sake of big plans, I can only make you feel wronged. The 9-infant ghost chess master said this and immediately questioned, "Your choice has allowed me to live in a terrifying balance. And a battle of the Blood River unexpectedly killed you, and I have ordered the Lord of the Sacred Heart to surpass your expectations." Knowing that the master of ghost chess, Fu Zishi, must have come to the underworld today for the dragon head in the blind sword forest of Chu Mountain, Jiuying Xian had to take it into consideration and defend it. The ghost chess master saw Jiuying like this and smiled knowingly, saying, "Due to your worship of heaven, you have destroyed the 8 trigrams of the ghost. Now it is rumored that the evil god has a dragon head that fell into the hands of the underworld. I wonder if the Holy Mother would like to return it to her old love. Coming." Jiuying's heart sank as she looked at the ghost chess master and said, "If I were to say that I didn't know about the dragon head incident." Sure enough. The ghost chess master was not surprised at all. When he learned that the person who had obtained the dragon head had left a message to go to the underworld, and since the resurrection of the primitive demon lord, he disappeared inexplicably. By comparison, the ghost chess master had already guessed that the person who seized the dragon head this time was probably related to the primitive demon lord. At that time, the ghost came from Japan and was recommended by the Holy Mother to sit as a military strategist in the underworld. Fu Zishi dared not forget this kindness. It's just that the dragon's head is of great importance. If it's not in the hands of the Virgin Mary, then the disappeared demon lord must be related to this matter. Upon hearing this, Jiuying frowned, which was not far from her estimate, but there was no news of the whereabouts of the demon lord for a long time. Now that the dragon head incident occurs again, the underworld will inevitably become a target of public criticism. Do you have a way to find the demon lord? The master of ghost chess shook the fan confidently, revealing a confident posture with confidence. The ghost has a plan, and I hope the Virgin Mary can cooperate. So. As the conversation in the underworld continued, the wandering wanderer had quietly arrived at the Qishan realm. The forest, which was once lush with new vegetation, has disappeared. There is no human habitation around, only a huge stone lotus stretches between heaven and earth. This is not long ago. In order to prevent the outbreak of the bloodthirsty power, the 100 generations of Jingluan sacrificed himself in a book, using this life's cultivation to transform. Just to seal the terrifying blood-dark power, but when manpower is exhausted, facing the blood-dark power formed by the convergence of countless biological grievances. Although a single page of a book may be extraordinary, over time, one's lifelong cultivation is sealed by the Buddhist secret technique of the ancient Weisheng lotus. It has already begun to collapse, with cracks covering the surface of the stone lotus. Endless grievances can rise one wave after another, constantly leaking out, turning the Qishan mountain into a dead zone for hundreds of miles, leaving no one alive. And the constantly spreading cracks seem to indicate a precursor to the imminent outbreak of the bloody dark power. "Sir, this place is so scary. What are we doing here?" The black ball smoker drifted behind the wandering wanderer, feeling the constantly emerging power from the stone lotus and trembling as he asked. "Coming here, I already have my own considerations. You should hide well for now." Upon hearing this, the black ball smoker immediately left the scene without hesitation. Immediately, the wandering wanderer sank heavily and headed straight towards the center of the huge stone lotus. Taking off the wine pot from the waist, under the stimulation of Yuan Gong, it emits endless suction. The blood and dark power constantly emanated from the cracks in the stone lotus, as if finding a place to return, swarmed in at once. At this moment, the two figures also slowly stepped into the range of Shirlian. The young girl with agile eyes and a mischievous spirit looked at the majestic figure walking ahead and said, "Bu Junchu, slow down a bit. This place is so terrifying, can he still live with just one page of the book?" The man stopped and turned to look at the girl, saying, "I believe a page of book must still be alive. Do you believe in?" Bai Shuian looked at Shirlian in the distance, emitting a terrifying aura, and was about to retort a few words. But when they heard a long whistle echoing through the sky, the two couldn't help but follow the sound and look away. In the heart of that terrifying stone lotus, the wandering wanderer steps on the void, and the terrifying suction of the wine bottle in his hand continues to increase. Unconsciously, he had already collected 30% of the blood-dark power and immediately put away the wine jug. With a loud roar, the five thunder power of the Taoist sect was activated, converging into a towering network of thunder, enveloping the stone lotus. The thunder network interweaves and undulates, intending to use the power of breaking the evil five thunder to repair the cracks in the stone lotus. And the two people on the outskirts of Qishan also took action when they saw this situation. The infantry's fighting spirit was spontaneous, gathering a magnificent force to suppress the blood-dark force that had just scattered out due to losing direction. Divine Weaving Net, upon seeing the situation, Bai Shuiyan immediately took out the holy item of the elf world. With the help of her body and the lightning net transformed by the wandering prodigal son, the stone lotus crack was once again intact. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Extras. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Extras. As the cracks gradually healed, Piapiaozi slowly regained his strength and looked at the man and woman outside Qishan, then lowered his body and walked. "Thank you both for your help just now." The mighty and domineering man, wearing a mask and possessing a murderous aura, looked at the huge stone lotus on Qishan and said calmly, "Even if we don't take action, you can still repair the cracks." Looking at this outfit, as well as the familiar elf aura on the two people in front of her, Piapiaozi's heart twitched. "Why are you two here for?" Bai Shuiyan looked at Bujuan Shang without saying a word and immediately said, "The two of us are here to search for a page of books. Just now, seeing your movements, do you know how the situation of a page of books is? Do you two seem to be from the elf clan? One page of the book is temporarily safe. I was just trying to see if I could weaken the blood darkness power, but as you can see, I failed." At this moment, Infantry Shang turned to look at the wandering wanderer and asked, "Is there a way to save a page of books?" Piao Piaozi shook his head and said, "There's nothing wrong with the one-page book at the moment. The righteous heroes are also actively seeking ways to save the one-page book. Don't worry, both of you. Infantry Shang thought for a moment and realized that he was powerless in the current situation of a single page of books. Do you know that an evil person with a silver mask has fallen? After thinking for a moment, Piao Piaozi replied, if today the members of the 8 evil ministries have all appeared in the world and are constantly planning to unseal the evil god dragon head. If you say that the evil person dressed in this outfit is very much like the Night Fork Owl King Qi Luo, one of the 8 evil ministries. Qi Luo. Infantry Shang pondered for a moment and then asked, where is he? Shihu Mountain. You still need to find the specific location yourself. However, there is an evil dragon head in my hands, and I have already released the message that the dragon head is within the underworld. If you can't find your target, you can follow the news from the underworld and I believe there will be gains. After examining the wandering wanderer for a long time, the infantry soldier said indifferently, thank you. Immediately, they took big strides to prepare to leave. Wait for me a moment. You're the one. Beside her, Bai Shuian saw that Bu Juanshang was so impolite that she didn't even greet her when she left. She smiled at Pia Piaozi and quickly followed her. Watching the two of them go far away, the plagiarist prodigal also took the little black ball smoker and turned around to leave. Within the Defeng ancient path, the current head of Confucianism, Yu Li Jing, looked at the secret letter in his hand and fell into contemplation. The Confucian sect attendant beside him looked at the silent Jade Li Jing and asked, Li Jing, what's wrong? Whose letter is this? Yu Li Jing handed the secret letter in his hand to Yun Forget Gui and said, it's not clear who the sender was. But his words indicate that he wants us to go to the underworld. It seems that he is the rumored person who took the dragon head from the blind sword forest in Qishan. After reading the letter, Yun forgot to return and put it down. He asked in confusion, this is a good thing. Since the other party can ingest and suppress the dragon head, it shows that his ability is extraordinary. Now that such news is being released, it seems that he is going to invite the emperor to the urn and deal with the 8 ministries. We have similar opinions, but why did the other party put the place in the underworld? The same problem also troubles Yun Huizi within the Cloud Sea Immortal sect. But although the righteous heroes had doubts in their hearts, they also turned their gaze to the underworld, ready to take action at any time. The wandering wanderer, who had gained the power of blood darkness, arrived at Yungui Mountain without realizing it. According to the method of the primitive demon lord in my memory, I searched for several hours before missing the unconscious blade demon sword in a hidden cave. As a force under the command of the demon lord, the Yojia experienced 2 leadership positions. Wanimo Jingzhua and Kue Yu Jian. By the time the primitive demon lord comes back to life, only then will he be in decline. If it weren't for the high-end combat power of the primitive underworld sealed in the demon release record. Perhaps at this moment, in the underworld, apart from the infinite Cocoons sentenced, only the virgin 9 infants and the primitive demon lord himself remain. Long ago, Feng Yimo and Jiu Tian Xian Zun were together on Shirlu Island to kill the 8 Qi evil gods. After the war, evil energy entered the body, and as a last resort, they chose to self-destruct to prevent being controlled by others. The demon soul was sealed by the original demon lord in the release of demons, after the resurrection of the original demon lord. Detect the backhand left by the heavenly traces, just in case the spirit of the blade demon is released as a backhand. But the primitive demon lord could never have imagined that Tianji's henchman ultimately created the current Pia Piaozi. Destined for his generation of demon rulers to perish. As the only remaining high-end combat power in the underworld, Feng Yimo, a wandering wanderer, cannot let go. After checking the situation of the blade demon, it was found that it was only due to the excessive consumption of the demon soul, as the body provided by the demon lord earlier was too weak. Difficult to take on the spirit element of the blade demon, and later engaged in battle with the 8 ministries, which caused the blade demon to fall into a deep sleep. Activate the anotic source of life that belongs exclusively to the demon lord in the underworld, and the vast power of life is infused into the body of the blade demon. Finally, 3 moments later, the unconscious Feng Mo slowly woke up. Looking at the unfamiliar face in front of him, the aura emanating from his body immediately made Feng Mo understand who was in front of him. Have you recovered? Feng Mo looked at the face that was far from the demon lord, with a once fierce and domineering aura. Now, there is an added charm of chivalry and uncertainty in the question. What is the recovery for? Are you in good health? You are the patient's friend. After examining the wandering wanderer for a long time, it was determined that he was indeed far from the demon lord. Feng Mo immediately said, "Thank you very much for your help." The person in front of him, Feng Ma, can be certain to be the demon lord, although it is unclear why Pia Piaozi found him without recovering. Feng Mo can only temporarily make friends with Pia Piaozi to prevent any further uncertain variables. Saving someone is never in vain. I have saved your life, so I need you to help me with something. Without hesitation, Feng Mo asked, "What's up?" If it weren't for the Pia Piaozi having the memories of the primitive demon lord, it would be hard to believe how the demon lord made the proud swordsman like Feng Mo wholeheartedly loyal to him. I hope you can help me navigate the Valley of Wind, time. After a long time, the wandering wanderer left Yungui Mountain. After confirming that no one was following, Pia Piaozi immediately took the little black smoker and fled into the wine pot space in an unnoticed corner. As a wanderer, the wandering wanderer also has his own trump card. Within the wine pot space, there are a total of 4 floors, except for the topmost space used recently to imprison Shirakawa Linghua. At this moment, in the space of the wine pot, apart from the continuous hovering of the yin-yang and 5 elements at the bottom, it transforms into a huge Tai Chi 8 trigrams grinding plate, which has the spatial function of refining and restoring all things to their original energy. In the middle 2 layers of space, one is occupied by the eerie and abnormal evil dragon head, as well as the recently collected blood dark power, each occupying a space. After the wandering wanderer entered the wine pot, they each drew a trace of blood and dark power, as well as the 8 chi evil dragon head evil chi, and threw them into the lowest level space. The Tai Chi Bagua grinding wheel rotates autonomously, crushing and recombining all 2 energies, continuously weakening and refining. After a long time, a primordial chaotic energy appeared in the lowest level space. Pia Piaozi smiled, took out the chaotic energy, explored it for a while, and then his gaze fell on the little black ball smoker beside him. "Master, don't look at me with such eyes. I'm scared. Since I believe in my grandfather's judgment, let's first make a mistake for you." With his words falling, he grabbed the black ball smoker and threw him into the space occupied by the 8 chi evil dragon head. "Master. I hate you." End of this chapter. Chapter 7. 8 parts gather in the dark realm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. 8 ministries gather in the dark realm founded by the former Daohuang Shengwu Xian. It is located within the Daowu Wang Valley, the main hall of martial arts cultivation in the Daojie realm. The peak of the 3 teachings, Sword Child Immortal Trace, looked at the envelope in his hand and hesitated in his heart. Not long ago, Jian Feidao, Hate Wufeng and others came to Daowu Wang Valley to investigate Wolf Chen Xiao. After several twists and turns, it was finally understood that the conspirator behind the decline of the Daowu King Valley was the controlling energy Tian of the 8 heavenly demons, who was plotting to use the 7 immortal weapons. At a critical moment, Jianzi Xianji appeared to assist and finally quelled the conspirator in one fell swoop. Yunangshan was also killed by the combined forces of Jianfeidao and Henwufeng. The crowd, who had thought everything was over, never expected another incident. Unexpectedly, the descendant of the Dao Emperor, Xingxiuiqi, was one of the evil soul strategy kings. He also collaborated with Longnao Qinjiangzi to break through the Dao Emperor's seal and lift the 8 Chi dragon head. Hate Wufeng was killed by Yuningtian and was targeted by the evil soul as the king. It is possible to become a member of the 8 ministries at any time, for the future of the Tao sect. For the sake of sacrificing fellow members of the Taoist sect, such as Jinzi Xianji and Jianfei Dao, and Qinjiangzi and Azura Wang, who fought several times for the legitimacy of the Taoist sect, the situation went against their wishes but always fell behind. Looking at Jinzi Xianji with a worried expression on his face, Jianfei Dao couldn't help but step forward. "Senior, I don't know who sent this letter in bulk. Why are you so worried?" Jinzi Xianji handed the letter to Jianfei Dao and said, "The sender of the letter is not clear, but it is stated in the letter that there is an 8-pointed dragon head in his hand. He will also use it to deal with the underworld and the 8 tribes." Jianfei Dao hesitated after reading the content of the letter. "Senior, if what is said in the letter is true, then the sender of the letter will inevitably be targeted by the 8 ministries. Regardless of whether it is true or false, we must come forward to help." "No. We're not going to the underworld." Jinzi Xianji thought twice and rejected Jianfei Dao's proposal. "Senior, why is this?" "Fei Dao, think about it. If we go to the underworld together, then the 8 ministries must be on guard. At that time, I'm afraid Qinjiangzi and Azura King will also go. Instead of that, let's go directly to Shenglanku and stop Azura King in Qinjiangzi." Upon hearing these words, Jianfei Dao's eyes lit up. On the Shihu mountain, the letter, which was also unknown to the sender, was quietly held in Qi Luo's hand. And the letter in Qi Luo's hand was obtained from the enchanting and charming Shirakawa Linghua beside him. "Shouldn't you explain? What is the relationship between the person who ingested Qishan dragon head and you? Explanation. Is it necessary?" Bai Chuan Linghua said calmly to Qi Luo, as if she had not heard his warning. "The signature on this letter is very clear. He asked me to deliver it to you. My task has been completed, so you can decide whether to go to the underworld or not." Just as Bai Chuan Linghua turned around and was about to leave, Qi Luo's angry expression was hard to suppress in his eyes. He flashed and grabbed Bai Chuan Linghua's neck, which was like sheep fat. "You'd better explain clearly. The dragon head is related to the evil god's plan and cannot tolerate any mistakes. Who is he really? Since you claim to be a god, why do you use an evil name? You are just one of his dogs, why pretend to be there? If you want to kill me, you can do it." The close proximity allowed Qi Luo to clearly see every subtle expression on Bai Chuan Linghua's face. "Ha ha ha, good. Good." Qi Luo laughed back in anger, throwing away his arm with a fierce aura, and a gust of cold wind couldn't help but rise around him. "You want me to complete the path of life and death. Since I have achieved this level, I'm afraid I will be disappointed. I don't need the way of life and death now. I will personally go to the underworld and take off his head." "Humph. You coward." Bai Chuan Linghua snorted coldly, her mind moved, and she smiled coquettishly, saying, "Do you want to know who he really is?" Qi Luo Dun, who was about to leave, stopped in his tracks without looking back and said coldly, "Who?" "He is my master. I can't believe that the woman I care about the most in this life, the once proud master, now says these 2 words from her mouth." Qi Luo is well aware that Shirakawa Linghua is not deceiving herself. But the truth often hurts more. I don't know how to describe my mood at this moment, and all I have left in my mind is the anger of wanting to crush the owner of Bai Chuan Linghua's mouth and make him die without a whole body. Looking at Qi Luo walking away in frustration, Bai Chuan Linghua's eyes showed a look of disappointment. Murmured to himself, "Kill me, that's what you should do most now. Since you can't do it, then." Not long after, Bai Chuan Linghua slowly walked out of Shihu Mountain and headed towards the direction of the underworld. At the same time, the righteous heroes who constantly monitored the movements of the 8 ministries and the evil god Dragon Head are also slowly paying attention to the movements of the underworld. In the underworld of the underworld, with the return of the 8-pointed dragon heads buried deep underground, the once huge dragon mouth statue has turned into ruins. Only a deep abyss remained, emitting a rolling demonic aura that led straight to the huge underground pit. The demon soldiers of the underworld are always on guard, beware of some people invading the underworld. Suddenly, a cold and murderous aura came into the air, and the terrifying pressure was overwhelming. Those with insufficient foundations suddenly exploded and died. Immediately, a person with withered bones and wings on their back, holding the falcon of the evil sword eagle in their hand, came with a murderous aura accompanied by a poem. In the era of the end of the Dharma, evil wings plundered the sea of hell. Heaven and earth mourned, and war ignited the wildfire of the demon-dragon disaster. At the moment of landing, the evil sword was raised high and slashed in the air, heading straight towards the depths of the underworld. Ah! Help! Amidst countless cries for help and painful screams, the sharp sword aura descended, shaking the entire underworld. I am currently discussing with the Ghost Chess Master about how to deal with the 9 infants of the primitive demon lord in the Holy Land of Pregnancy. Upon realizing the change, I immediately turned into light and headed straight towards the underworld. The Ghost Chess Master saw the situation and carefully sensed that he was familiar with the aura, and immediately followed suit. Who dares to invade the underworld? Cold and heartless words, accompanied by towering palm power, erupted from the underworld of Yudu like a volcano. Blood flows all over the river and mountains, and the bare earth is thousands of miles and thousands of bones are cold. The devil is the sin of heaven, and all living beings are charred. Accompanied by the poem title, there is a sudden change in the space outside the secluded capital, and the transformation of Galadon feels the suppression of Yuan Gong, but still remains fearless. Staring coldly at the virgin 9 infants, as if they were giants. Evil gods have orders, hand over the dragon head, otherwise today the underworld will be destroyed. Humph. What a big breath. Jiuying was never threatened like this before, and then let out a cold snort, feeling unhappy in his heart. But I also understand that facing the 8 heavenly demons in the dark realm now is like hitting a stone with an egg. I immediately said, the dragon head is no longer in the dark realm. The 8 heavenly demons are so reckless. Don't you investigate first? The words fell, and before I could change my gallows words, I was shocked to see the surrounding space shattered with a loud bang. The space created by Jiuying's secret method shattered like glass. The 8 ministries all act in accordance with the will of evil gods. There is no choice in the underworld today. Cold words echoed through the shattered space. The 100 demons follow me and smoke from the wolves, the beacon fires follow me and start a prairie fire, the 3 realms are lifeless, and they descend to kill the human world. Accompanied by the poem, the 2 evil kings oppressed the realm, causing Jiuying to feel pressure. He secretly compared his combat power, knowing that he could not tear his face from the 8 ministries. Turn your head and look at the Ghost Chess Master Fu Zishi who emerged from within the underworld. I only saw the Ghost Chess Master holding a feather fan, as if strolling leisurely in the courtyard, coming to the scene and watching the transformation of Gallo and the Dark Truth. 2 comrades, the dragon head is indeed not within the underworld, probably taken by that despicable primitive demon lord. Today, for the sake of the ghost, can we temporarily let the Virgin Mary and the underworld go and let her find the original demon lord for us, and make up for it? The proposal of the Ghost Chess Master made Gon Bien Gallo and Shadi couldn't help but stare at each other. If you are always under the command of evil gods, it is inevitable. But the order of the evil god has been issued, and it is currently in a difficult situation. The cold and murderous aura rushes like a surging river. The figure of the demon wearing a mask killed in awe. Hand over the person who took the dragon's head. The Ghost Chess Master looked at Qi Luo, who was full of murderous intent, with some surprise. The situation seems to be a bit beyond expectations, except for Azura King and the evil prison Ming King of Shirlu Island. Almost all the 8 members who successfully planned the king have arrived. After thinking for a moment, Fu Zishi asked tentatively, can you give the ghost a thin face and let go of the underworld? Qi Luo didn't even think about it and said disdainfully, I'm not interested in your words. Evil gods have orders, and the underworld doesn't exist in the world. Today, the underworld will be destroyed. Humph. Who dares to destroy my lord's underworld? End of this chapter. 8, Chapter 8 Plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Plan. At the entrance of the Holy Dragon Gate of the Daomen altar, Azura King is preparing to go to the underworld. Suddenly, Daoxing hurriedly rushed over. Wang, Dao Wu Wanggu Zhu Zun and Jian Xian Ji and others came to call for battle. Azura King accepted 10,000 tribulations with a contemptuous smile. You really came at the right time. Turning his head to look at Qin Jiangzi, who was not far away and was sipping his own tea, he said, Qinyang, the evil god has an order to destroy the underworld. It seems that I have to trouble you today about the matter of Taoism. Jianzi Xianji and others have come here at this time to prevent you from going to the underworld. But with me here, you can rest assured to go. Thank you very much. Shou Wanjie smiled and thanked him, with a proud posture as if Jian Zixian and others were completely indifferent. Watching Shou Wanjie disappear, Qin Jiangzi looked towards the direction of the underworld and murmured to himself, at this moment, if you attract the attention of the 8 ministries, you will inevitably be targeted with all your might. This approach is really unwise. Let's see what the result is today. Immediately, he led the Shenglanku Daoxing towards the location of Jianzi Xianji and others. Outside the secluded realm, amidst the laughter of the wandering prodigal son, he descended through the clouds. Without any innate superior posture, unrestrained and carefree. As if there were many experts present, none of them were seen by them. And on the peak dozens of miles east beyond the realm of seclusion, Yun Huizi and Earth Cocoon Infinity also quietly arrived. Always keep an eye on the movements outside the underworld. And in the distant southern sky, a person stood tall in the air, holding a long spear in hand, with an unparalleled posture, as if a goddess had descended from the world, without any trace of mortal aura. A pair of delicate eyebrows and eyes exuded a hint of chivalry, standing proudly in a graceful posture, also paying attention to the changes in the underworld. At the same time, on the table, many representatives of various forces are quietly hiding in the dark, waiting for the opportunity to move. Are you the one who sent us a letter to come here? Is the dragon head of Qishan also in your hands? Seeing the appearance of Pia Piaozi, Qi Luo's demonic sword appeared, with the blade pointing directly at Pia Pizi. With words, a cold and murderous aura swept through the entire scene, and the scene was suddenly silent. Ah! Oh! Lazily yawned, Pia Piaozi rolled his eyes, looked at Qi Luo, nodded, and said, That's right, it's me. You can go die now. Confirming the target, Qi Luo slashed through the air and directly took the head of the Pia Piaozi. Bored. Faced with danger, Pia Piaozi remained motionless, not even looking at Qi Luo, but turned to look at the Virgin 9 infant standing with the ghost chess master. In this life, how could he have been so ignored? Qi Luo's hatred surged in his heart, and his attack increased by another 30%. Just when Qi Luo was surprised that Pia Piaozi was so confident. Suddenly, a wolf howl echoed through the sky, and beasts roared from afar. A black shadow instantly blocked the wandering wanderer's body. When? With a few pitfalls and a strong demonic aura, the domineering fighting spirit merged into an extremely powerful sword, shocking everyone present. After a move, Qi Luo withdrew and retreated, his demon sword emitting a faint red light. The killing intent is cold and cold, staring at those who are doing bad things. It's you. Surprisingly caught up with the Central Plains. Kill you, even if it's the ends of the earth. At this moment, a girl's voice of complaint came, and Bai Shuyan stood in the distance, shouting, Infantry Shang, didn't you say you're not meddling? He must die. Infantry Shang coldly replied, but his mind was constantly locked on Qi Luo, without any intention of relaxing. At this moment, Piao Piaozi felt a bit embarrassed. He thought that as the protagonist today, he was also the protagonist, but to his surprise, someone stole the spotlight. I'll tell you too, today is the game of the Lord's team. Your personal grudges, please stay away from here. Lord has something important to do. Sure. Infantry Shang immediately replied, then said calmly to Qi Luo, if you want to kill this person, defeat me first. Qi Luo was burning with anger at this moment, although he understood in his heart that it was Bai Chuan Linghua who was attacking him. But the long-standing emotional entanglement between the two made it impossible for him, even if he knew it well, to face such tactics as Shirakawa Linghua. The wandering prodigal's son will die no matter what, whether he dies early or late, just want to vent his anger. Do you have any last words? For Qi Luo's words, Infantry Shang ignored them directly, drew out the Wolf Knight Xing sword, and immediately rushed towards the culprit of the chaos that caused the elf world in the past, the Night Fork Owl King Qi Luo. The two of them fought together at the moment, and under the intentional guidance of the infantry, the battlefield gradually moved away. The troublemaker has already left, and the ghost chess master looks at the familiar aura on Piao Piaozi's body. Your Excellency has taken the dragon's head and wants the ghost and all comrades to come to the underworld. I don't know what you want. Please note that the evil god has already ordered the destruction of the underworld today. Ha! With a sneer, Piao Piaozi sarcastically said, let's go aside. Since the 8-Chi evil god has ordered the destruction of the underworld, you are a dead ghost standing with the Holy Mother of the underworld. Is this surrendering to the enemy? As he spoke, the wandering prodigal patted his forehead and suddenly realized, I've forgotten. You're a military master in the underworld. I heard you had an affair with Jiuying, this slut. I wonder if it's true or false. Bloody-mouthed. The ghost chess master immediately became furious and said to the other two, comrades, let's take action together to kill this thief and retrieve the dragon head for the evil god. At this moment, the sound of cicadas chirped, accompanied by a stunning figure slowly approaching. The stars and snow mourn the sky, the Milky Way hangs down, and the wild and beautiful night lingers to cast Chu Ci. The mournful sound of the autumn wind rises, killing memories of the cold cicadas before they sing. Accompanied by the poem title, Azura King swiftly arrives to collect countless tribulations. The brave have achieved success in 100 battles, while the wise have determined victory through careful consideration. Why is it that those who possess both intelligence and courage will never be able to recover? In the unexpected gaze of Piao Piaozi, he coldly questioned, and his killing intent also enveloped Piao Pizi. After looking at the ghost chess master, Piao Piaozi smiled and said, Your Excellency's question, I couldn't think of an answer before, but now I have it. Oh. What's the answer? Azura King showed a curious expression. The wandering wanderer said slowly, because the person in your problem is the master of ghost chess. Therefore, both the brave and the wise will achieve nothing. You. The ghost chess master's anger was already unbearable, and as he was about to kill the Piao wanderer, he looked at the 8 members present, all of whom had smiles on their eyes, and his resentment was immediately difficult to suppress. With a light swing of the feather fan in hand, a palm aura struck the wandering prodigal's son, and at the same time, the Virgin 9 infant demon Yuan Mantai also made a move. Faced with a pincer attack from the two, Piao Piaozi slowly opened the lid of the wine jug at his waist, his mind twitching. In an instant, a huge purple evil energy gushed out, transforming into a towering evil cloud that enveloped the area for several miles. All the people present, except for Jiuying, were extremely familiar with this aura and showed signs of surprise. Juan Bien Gallo exclaimed in surprise. The origin of evil gods is evil energy. The move of the ghost chess master and the Holy Mother 9 infants was vulnerable to a huge evil energy, and the two were immediately forced to retreat. Piao Piaozi looked at the extremely cooperative Bien Jalua and nodded in his heart to praise him. Then he said, the purpose of taking the dragon head is not to be enemies with everyone, but to have a conversation. And what do you think of the sincerity of the dragon head in my hand? The silent secret slowly said, what do you need? The wandering wanderer thought for a moment and his gaze slowly fell on the Holy Mother and 9 infants. Then he said, let's do this. There are 2 things. The first one is that I want to kill this woman, so I'll trouble everyone. As a gesture of sincerity, 9 infants are dead. How about the Dragon Head Lord returning it immediately? End of this chapter. Chapter 9. 9 Infant Death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 9 Infant Death. The words of the wandering prodigal fell to the ground, and Jiuying's hair stood on end. Be vigilant and look around at the 8 factions, even the ghost chess master who has a close relationship with her is intentionally or unintentionally looking at Jiuying at this moment. The scene was silent. Humph. Your Excellency is cunning, but I don't know where I offended you, the Holy Mother of the Underworld. If there is really something wrong, can the ghost apologize first? Speaking aside, as the ghost chess master is from the ghost realm, why don't you first figure out your own problems before taking care of the affairs of the ghost realm? Pia Piaozi glanced disdainfully at the ghost chess master and then scanned the Azura King and the Dark D, saying, how about your proposal? Azura King exchanged a glance with the 3 of Andi and Jubian Gala, shook their head slightly and smiled, we killed you, and we can also retrieve the dragon head. There is no conflict between the underworld and us, right? As a descendant of the Daoist emperor, Azura King does not know if he truly believes that you can retrieve the dragon head when I propose such a proposal today. Looking at the wandering wanderer who seemed to smile but not smile, Azura Wang's heart suddenly tightened and he pondered for a moment. Okay. I have agreed to your condition. After speaking, I looked at the other 8 members. After a moment of contemplation, Andi and Zhu Bian Gallo understood why King Azura had chosen so, and their gaze turned to the ghost chess master and 9 infants. At the same time, Zhu Bian Gallo moved his body slightly and came to the side of the ghost chess master, intending to block him and help Jiuying. Pia Pialang Zi is completely fearless, considering the recent appearance of infantry casualties and the movements of Jianzi Xianji and others when Azura King left the Holy Dragon Mouth. For the dragon head, the wandering wanderer must have some calculations. If he snatches the dragon head, there may be accidents. There are 2 conditions: as long as you kill Jiuying, you can get the dragon head. As for the second condition, everything will be easy once the dragon head returns. Seeing such a change, Jiuying knew in her heart that she might face more or less misfortune today. The revenge of today will be avenged in the future. Knowing that the situation was unfavorable, Jiuying immediately dodged and quickly retreated. At the same time, the demon soldiers from the underworld rushed out from the underworld and ran towards the 8 ministries and the drifting wanderer. Can you leave? With a sneer from the wandering prodigal son, the demon lord's 3 wonders emerged. The pure and demonic aura of Tao Tao, like a raging dragon soaring up and down, with a single blow that completely engulfed the sky, it headed straight towards Jiuying. Azura King also exuded a fierce aura of evil. With his long sword coming out of his body, he used his evil energy to wield the ultimate move of the Tao Emperor. 7 terrifying sword energies, resembling the rainbow of the 9 heavens, blocked the retreat of the 9 infants. The ghost chess master wanted to rescue, but as he watched the 2 evil kings watching closely, he couldn't help but stop his movements. On the peak, Yun Huizi and D. Cocoon Infinity, who had been watching the battle, looked inexplicable and each pondered. The underworld is finished. The place where she used to live is about to be destroyed. Even though Jiuying deserves it, she is still an infinite mother. Watching her dying, she couldn't help but sigh. 9 infants are finished, but the underworld may not be eradicated. Why? The underworld has already. With infinite surprise, he looked at Yun Huizi, thinking of a certain possibility, and couldn't help but look up at the battlefield in shock. I saw Jiuying running away with all his heart, but when facing Azura King's hand in hand with Pia Piaozi, he couldn't resist at all. The demon lord's 3 wonders instantly appeared, vomiting blood and falling dust. You are actually the demon lord. Jiuying looked at Piapiaozi in shock. The handsome man in front of her made it impossible for her to connect with the once unattractive man who shared the same bed. But the answer to Jiuying was the merciless and sarcastic words of Piapiaozi. Flashing over to Jiuying's side, Piapiaozi burst into laughter. Ha ha ha. Poisonous woman, did you ever think that I would seek revenge like this? Back then, you had an affair with the ghost chess master and plotted against the underworld. I thought my children were young and didn't want them to be sad. I thought that after my own death, you had changed, but for the sake of your ambition and to obtain the demon release record, you designed to sacrifice the vermilion bird clothes, but also let go of infinity, causing me to be cruel to both flesh and blood. You should repay it now. In his words, Pia Wangzi slapped the 9-infant heavenly spirit, and at that moment, the 9-infant's powerful demon element burst out. Even though Jiuying resisted with all his might, the source of cathartic life in his body continued to flow away, and his breathing had already dissipated, becoming a useless person. The demonic soldiers that emerged from the underworld stood stunned by the situation before them. Immediately, a pure demonic aura spread out from the sky and the earth, and the demonic patterns between the wandering prodigal son's eyebrows appeared, gathering the source of life in the yin-yang bipolar realm. Breaking through the limits of Pia Wangzi's martial arts, the supreme demonic energy breaks through the sky, converging into thousands of miles of blood clouds and thunderous waves, as if the heavens are warning, representing the taboo of disaster and Earth's incompatibility returning to the human world. The sky bends its knees, the earth bends its head, and the world is in decline with only one hand. God has no salvation, but only the holy can kill. Before the demonic wings, there will ultimately be empty words. The domineering poem horn resounded through the sky, and the wandering wanderer's demonic eyes scanned the four directions. The demon soldiers of the underworld suddenly felt a powerful pressure from their bloodline piercing through their hearts, and they all knelt down to the ground. Congratulations to the demon lord for returning to the mortal world. Congratulations to the demon lord. In the call of the heavens, it is said that the prophecy of the demon son and the primitive demon lord in the underworld will finally reveal their true appearance. The ghost chess master looked at the familiar and unfamiliar primitive demon lord in front of him, with a hint of fear in his eyes. Congratulations to the demon lord for regaining control of the underworld. Our agreement should also be fulfilled. Azura King looked at the majesty of the wandering wanderer with a solemn expression and said calmly. This is nature. Taking off the wine jug, the demon element urged a purple-red evil dragon to soar into the sky and head straight towards the east. At the peak, Yunhuizi and Infinity noticed the birth of the evil dragon head and immediately prepared to take action. At the last moment, they hesitated for a moment and stopped their hand movements. The breath of this dragon head. Yunhuizi's doubts were even clearer when he held the cocoon of the martyrdom eye in his hand. The power of blood darkness. However, where did the demon lord obtain the power of blood darkness? As expected, Yunhuizi looked at the direction of the purple-red evil dragon flying away with a puzzled expression in his eyes. Yunhuizi, the backhand of Tianji, was well aware, but judging from the actions of the demon lord today, it was clear that the backhand had not played a role. But observing the actions of the demon lord is different from what he is said to be. But one thing, Yunhuizi is certain that the glimmer of vitality left by the past Tianji for life practitioners is difficult to find. The dragon head of the evil god has been released, and the goals of the 8 tribes have been achieved. Although the command of the evil god is to destroy the underworld, it is obvious that today's event has come to an end. Seeing that the demon lord kept his promise, he immediately said, Your Excellency just had 2 conditions. I wonder what the second condition is. The second condition is not difficult, as long as the evil god does not personally intervene in my underworld. Sure. Azura King directly agreed, and now there is a primitive demon lord sitting in the underworld, who is not an ordinary force. It is better to bring him into the camp than to have enemies. As for the past grudges between the Ghost Chess Master and the Underworld, they are only their personal matters and are not worth mentioning in terms of the evil god's plan. Happy cooperation. With an indifferent remark, Piapialuozi glanced at the Ghost Chess Master and said, "The strength of the Underworld has been greatly damaged. I declare that the Underworld will be closed from now on. If you have anything to do, you can come find me. But if the Ghost Chess Master sees me again, I will definitely kill you." Immediately, the primitive demon lord had no intention of dealing with the 8 ministries and returned to the Underworld with the demon soldiers of the Underworld. Although several evil kings had some opinions on this, they never took any further action in the end. End of this chapter. 10, Chapter 10. You are back. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. You are back. The evil dragon soars into the air, with its 8-pointed dragon head lifted from its seal, piercing through the clouds and breaking through the sky, following the guidance of the Underworld and flying straight towards the Eastern Sea. In just a few breaths, he crossed the vast divine realm and entered the depths of the island of Shirlu. Within the Shadow Shrine, accompanied by the return of the evil dragon head, the towering evil energy immediately permeated, and 8 evil shadows shrouded the sky. Ah! How could that be so? At the moment when the dragon head evil energy returned, a painful howl emanated from the depths of the island. Boom! Immediately, the massive explosion shook the entire island of Shirlu, as if a ground cow had turned over, causing the entire island to tremble uncontrollably. Evil God, what happened? Inside the shrine, there was a body full of evil energy, with a delicate face like a woman's indistinguishable figure, staring in shock at everything in front of them and incredulously at the huge evil figure in the sky. How could it be like this? Amidst anger, a voice of disbelief and shock rang out, but seeing a huge evil shadow in the sky, it flickered and seemed to have suffered extremely terrifying damage. In the bottom space of the shrine, the closed person slowly opens their eyes. You're in pain. Are you injured? With the words, the evil shadow in the air suddenly withdrew and appeared in the underground space. Don't call me a slave and stop talking nonsense. How could God be hurt? Really? So when your dragon head returns, it looks like this. Don't tell me, your strength wants to charge. It's ridiculous. Mo Xiaonu's words fell to the ground, the evil shadow suddenly became furious, and an indescribable terrifying pressure swept through the space. Mo Xiaonu's body was restrained, and he suddenly fainted in front of him. Damn Jiutian Xuanzuan, if it weren't for the dragon head leaving the body for too long, how could it be like this? With this in mind, the evil shadow separated a thought and told the figure in the shrine who looked the same as Mo Xiaonu. The emperor asked the 8 ministries to temporarily stop unsealing the dragon head. You can inquire about the secret sacrifice evil code to create a soul-breaking lock for the god. And you should always pay attention to the trend of the ghost world. The heavenly emperor is somewhat unclear, but the evil gods have orders and have to comply. Vivi bowed and replied, "It's an evil god." The evil shadow dissipated, and the 8 evil gods in the depths of the flowing island fell into contemplation as they watched the life grudges that had just returned to the dragon head, integrated with the source of evil energy. Within the underworld, the primitive demon lord returns, and the virgin 9 infants are killed by the demon lord. A huge wave was stirred up for a moment, but the primitive demon lord was the highest ruler of the underworld. Even though some people have some criticisms about the death of Jiuying, no one opposes the decision made by the demon lord to cover the coffin. Within the Chaos 9 heavens, the primitive demon lord slowly regained his power. Absorbing the 9 infant skill body, integrating the source of cathartic life, coupled with the source of anotic life itself, greatly enhances the original skill body of Pia Pia Wangzi. Feeling the interplay of yin and yang within the body, constantly shattering the newly emerging power in the flow of yin and yang. As if returning to the chaos of the Yuan dynasty, the pure demon body has been further enhanced. Although still within the innate peak range, my martial arts and physical fitness are vast and unparalleled. However, I am confident that if I were to confront the 8 ministries at this time, it's easy to eliminate all the powerful members of the heavenly evil 8 ministries, including Chi Luo and Azura, and kill everyone else, including the ghost chess master. At this moment, I saw the demon soldiers rushing towards me. Report to the demon lord, Earth Cocoon Unlimited and Cloud Sea Immortal Sect Cloud Wheezy teamed up to meet the demon lord. Bring them in. Outside the underworld, the cocoon is infinitely dark and inexplicable. Originally, this was to investigate the true and false nature of the primitive demon lord, while Yun Huizi wanted to see if Tianji had ever left behind a backhand. It really doesn't work. Unexpectedly, Infinite, who had been chased by the underworld, appeared and knelt down one after another by the demon soldiers of the underworld. As if infinitely returning to his former cocoon position, it stirred up waves in his original determination not to enter the underworld in this life. Not long after, the magic weapon will not come soon. Farewell to Lord Earth Cocoon, the demon lord has invited 2 of you to enter the Chaos 9 heavens. The 2 of them exchanged a glance. Although they were concerned, they were confident that with their strength, no one could stop them from leaving. They then followed the demon weapon towards the depths of the underworld. And above the 9 heavens, the figure who saw the changes in the underworld in his eyes couldn't help but feel an ominous premonition in his heart. Struggling with his gaze, he looked at the entrance of the underworld at his feet, hesitated for a long time, and finally disappeared. In the Valley of the Wind, the starting point of the former Blood Dark Wind disaster. Feng Imo explores along the way based on the information provided by the Demon Lord. Finally, in the lower part of the Deep Wind Cave, I stopped my steps. In his gaze, a young wind dragon cub trembled as he watched the sudden appearance of the Blade Demon. Feeling the familiar aura on its body, Feng Mo's mind moved and he remembered someone. What is your relationship with the Desert Eagle? Gollum. Snore. Listening to the words of the cub in his ear, Feng Mo frowned. Don't be afraid, the Desert Eagle was my former comrade in arms. It seems that you are the wind dragon that the Demon Lord said. Come with me. I won't harm you. As Feng Mo approached, as soon as he reached out his hand, the cub was frightened and retreated to the corner. Ah. That's it. Feng Mo looked at the descendants of the former Wind clan and let out a soft sigh, then waved his hand to put away the cubs. I once again explored the entire wind hole, and then it melted away. The Azura King, who returned from the underworld, stepped into the holy dragon mouth. I was shocked to see that Longnao Qinjiangzi was scarred and unconscious. Standing beside him was actually Hate Wufeng, surrounded by evil energy, healing Qinjiangzi's wounds. Qingyang, how is your injury? It's okay. When Azura King returned, Qinjiangzi slowly stood up. A touch of vermilion on the corner of his mouth, as if telling the story of the great war that occurred not long ago at the mouth of the Holy Dragon. After you left, I faced Jianzi Xianji and others. At a critical moment, unexpectedly, Yuli Jing, the head of the Difeng Ancient Road, led the Confucian people to come. Fortunately, the Demon King returned in time to summon his soul, otherwise the Holy Dragon Mouth would have suffered heavy losses today. Upon hearing Qinjiangzi's words, Azura King apologized slightly and said, "It was my fault. If it weren't for Shura doesn't need to blame himself, you and I don't need to be so polite. Holy Dragon Mouth is fine. I wonder if he has successfully released the dragon head when he goes to the underworld." The dragon's head returned safely, and this is roughly how it happened. Listen as Azura King recounts the story of the underworld. On the side, Hate Wufeng immediately said, "The primitive demon lord has regained control of the underworld. Is it a good thing for the evil god's plan? Ningtian, you have just recovered. Don't worry about this matter. This is a small secluded realm. If necessary, it can be destroyed by turning a hand. If we haven't seen each other for a long time, let's reminisce about our past." Immediately, after a brief conversation with King Azura and King Yuxia, they had someone clean up the remnants of the holy dragon mouth and took Qinjiangzi to heal their wounds. Within the 9 domes of chaos, 4 eyes face each other and remain silent for a long time. On the high throne of the primitive demon lord, looking at the infinite cocoons in front of him, he finally let out a light sigh and slowly stood up. "You're back." Infinite indifference in his eyes, the person in front of him is his biological father, but he devours the vermilion bird clothes in order to be reborn. And not long ago, he even killed his birth mother Jiuying. Although I hate 2 people in my heart, when they face each other, Infinite realizes that I am speechless. End of this chapter.